say this calls for action, and now, nip it in the bud.
Michelle Pfeiffer? The only true Catwoman is Julie Newmar, Lee Merriweather, or Eartha Kitt. And I didn't need molded plastic to improve my physique. Pure West.
Good morning, angels.
Good morning, Charlie.
I love it when a plan comes together.
It's time. Let's talk about music, movies, and mostly television from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff.
The Livestream Code and Rating Administration has rated this online event PG. All ages admitted. Please be kind and stay on topic.
Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice.
It's showtime.
It is showtime. Good evening to one and all. Welcome to the Good Stuff Live Surprise Edition. My name's Dave Sundstrom. If you enjoy talking about music, movies, and let's be real, mostly television from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, you've come to the right place. So, this is a surprise edition of the live stream. I typically live stream these days on Thursday evenings, but I'm not going to be able to do that tomorrow night. And my good friend Pat McCormick, who typically live streams on Wednesday evenings at this time, well, he was unable to tonight. So, you know what I thought? I have the time. I'm just sitting here working on creating a new video. And I thought, you know what? Let's get on. Let's connect with folks, visit with them. I've got a bunch of videos I can play, but we're going to visit. We're going to hang out, at least for the next hour or so. So welcome. It's good to have you here. Let me see who is actually out there right now. All right. Let's see. Daryl Johnston, thanks so much for the reminder to everyone. Yeah, hit the like button. Thank you for your cooperation. And Daryl, thank you for reminding folks about that. It's always appreciated. Superfan Jill Carter is here. Don Patterson in the house. Welcome. Great to have you here. Southern Guy, James Bodnerchuk, Kimberly Wiederhold, Matt Sweeney. What's the haps, Dave? Nothing. Just hanging out Wednesday evening, sipping on a Diet Coke. Doesn't get much better than that. Train Nerd, aloha. Good to have you here. Thrash Pondo Ponds. Happy 1 year anniversary, Thrash Pondo. For those folks who don't know, TP has been hard at it as a YouTube creator for, you guessed it, 1 year. Let me see. Do I have the TP video handy? Hang on a second. I would love to play that if I do. Looks like I deleted it. Darn it all. I will look for it in a little bit and play it if I can find it. All right, let's keep moving. Jack Spink, welcome from Alberta, Canada. Lovely place, lovely place. Tom McCluskey in the house, better known as The Hungry Jerk. Ben Patterson, the mayor of Chicago. I really don't get that reference, but you know what? I'm sure it's funny. Shannon Burns, hello. Good to have you here. John H., good to have you here. Let's see. James Bodnerchuk says, love it. The intro reminds me of ABC Movies of the Week. That is the plan, right? That music. And I can't wait for my next live stream next week. I've got a new intro that's not going to be ABC Movie of the Week, but something else. And I hope everybody enjoys it when I play it. Helene Solomon's here. She says that she thinks that she's going to meet William Shatner this weekend. Well, you know what? William Shatner is going to be in Utah in September. He's going to be at what's called Fan X, which previously was known as Comic-Con, but the Comic-Con creators sued those fine folks, and as a result, they changed the name of the convention or the event to Fan X, and William Shatner is going to be here this year. Hopefully, I'm going to be able to go. Sarita Abney's in the house. Welcome. Good to have you here. Let's see. Anyone else? Dolph Quick is here. James Dye is here. James Shapanik. John Shapanik is here. Excuse me. And let's see. Jack Spink says that Shatner and I share a birthday, March 22nd. Yeah, that was just recently. Happy birthday to you, Jack. Ben Patterson says, hi, Dave. It's been a while since I've been in a live stream. Well, welcome back. It's good to have you here with me. Like I said, typically I do my live streams on Thursday evenings these days, but you know what? Things just kind of worked out, and here I am on Wednesday evening hanging out with you guys. Blackster 101, good to have you here. Karen Lester, always a treat. 420. You made it! Nicely done. Nicely done, Dirty Rotten Hikers. That's right. Oh, thank you. I will. Moabs, welcome. Good to have you with us. Hi. Let's see. Oh, Thrash Pondo. It's been a treat getting to know you, my friend. It's great. Emily Miller's here. Nice. What's up, Emily? Good to have you here. And look at this. Terrell Eugene Bellinger says, hello, Dave. Happy Way Back Wednesday. Didn't expect you to do a live stream tonight. Neither did I. But I had the time. I knew that Pat McCormick wasn't going to do one tonight. And I can't do one tomorrow. So here I am hanging out with you guys. I don't have like typically I'll have guests or a theme. Don't have any of that stuff tonight. This will be a true hangout. I've got some videos I'll play. But right now I'm just saying hello to everybody. Bladestar 2, good to have you here. Well, my old feller, I'm not that far behind you, and that's why we both remember the good stuff. Ben Patterson says, a lot hearing the movie of the week theme music. Yeah, I like it a lot too. I think that's what you're saying. Rich Atwood, hello. Good to have you here. I think I've said hello to Dolph, but I'll say it again. The Superfan Spike Spikerson in the house. Hey, good to have you here, buddy. Yeah, John H. He is doing super well for a guy who just turned 91. No, Tom, I haven't gotten that package yet. I'm cross my fingers, hope it arrives soon. Did you send it medium mail? Because if you did, sometimes those can take a week or two. Let's see. Yes, legal stuff can get in the way of a good time. It tends to do that. Let's see what else we got. Emily Miller says she's talking to Thrash Pondo. She's good. Rehomed 4 of my kitties this week. So, yeah, that would make anyone sad. Mike Jones, you're in the house. Good to have you with us. Rich Atwood, yes, I'd heard about the passing of Bobby Rydell. A little bit before my time musically, but definitely something that I took notice of. Rochelle B., the partly normal LMT, and also a super fan of the channel. Welcome. Good to have you with us. Spike Spikerson, I think I've said hello already. We'll say it again, though. Great to have you here. Oh, Thrash Pondo says that Bobby Rydell performed at his mother's prom. True story. One of these days, I'm going to get Thrash Pondo on my live stream, and we're going to visit about all sorts of cool stuff. Let's see. Oh, Ray Combs. Terrell. That is heartbreaking. Yeah, I've read a lot about that. And it is a true tragedy. So I will add it to my list. I'll double check. I may have already have him on there because I was doing some research on that a while back. I don't know if it was from an earlier suggestion of yours or something else, but yeah, I'll make sure he's on the list. Bladestar 2 says, need more of those old movies of the week on DVD. Yeah, those are great. Some of those was real classics too. That would be, I think that's a great idea. Some enterprising video distribution service, if they could figure out a way to either do a streaming service that would be movies of the week and to do the whole thing, right? Do it with the intros and some really cool vintage commercials. That would be awesome. Love Bye Bye Birdie. Love Dick Van Dyke. Just Anne Margaret. Great stuff. Yes, Rich Atwood, Night Court is coming back soon. Fingers crossed that it will be a suitable homage to the original. It's a reboot. It's going to be Judge Harry's daughter, Harry Anderson's daughter. And I think we've got John Larroquette coming back. I'm not sure who else is coming back. John H. says, I have Murder on Flight 502 on DVD. It just cost $1, but it was all authorized. Awesome. But what I'm thinking of, what would be so cool is to just kind of have that experience. You pop in the DVD, and it's almost as if you're transported back to the 70s. It would need to be in 4:3 format, that old square format. So you'd have black bars on both the right and left side. And then you would just, it could feel like almost like you were watching TV back then. That's why you would need the vintage commercials and all that good stuff. You'd want the intro too. Ernie Anderson or for ABC or whoever did CBS and NBC. Casey Kasem did a lot of the intros for NBC for a while. That would just be so cool. John H. says, ugh, I hate reboots for the most part. Yeah. That is tomorrow night, Tracy. That's why I'm not doing it tomorrow night. And when I found out Pat wasn't going to do a live stream tonight, I said, I'm in. I'll just come and hang out with everybody. Cold Turkey. I remember that movie. That was great. I did not think it was a TV movie. I thought that was actually a movie that came out in the theaters, and I first saw it on TV myself. But Two Beer, welcome, Duel. Yes, Dennis Weaver, Steven Spielberg movie. Very, very well done. Mike Jones says, the amazing thing about your channel is how it takes us back to a better time. That's the goal, my friend. That is the goal. Taking us back to a better time. James Bodnerchuk says, Hollywood is dead. Many years now, indie films are far superior, in my opinion. I think there's some tremendous indie films. I do like some of the films that Hollywood turns out. I really loved The Batman recently. I'm looking forward to this shows how much I love superhero movies. So I'm looking forward to the new Doctor Strange film. Loved the Spider-Man movie that came out recently. Is there something else that's out there? Maybe that's it. Maybe I just like it when Hollywood makes superhero movies. I don't know. Emily Miller says Cold Turkey was hilarious. As a smoker, I felt their pain. Yes. I've never smoked, so I don't know that pain, but I do know what it's like to be addicted to something. And I understand that caffeine addiction and nicotine addictions are different, but I can somewhat relate. Yes, there were a ton of airplane disaster movies during the 70s. Superfan Spike Spikerson says, almost missed Dave. I started watching The Man with the Screaming Brain and decided to see if anyone was live on YouTube. Well, I'm glad you did. Casey Kasem was an absolute gem. No doubt about it. Terrell's asking, can I please suggest you do a Whatever Happened to video on Rob Stone, best known for his role? I know, yeah, Kevin Owens on 85 to 90 ABC Family sitcom Mr. Belvedere. That's a great suggestion. You certainly may suggest that, Terrell. I love your suggestions. I know I don't always act on them, but I love every single one of them. You are a man who has a great breadth of knowledge when it comes to old-timey television and movies. All right, yeah, Cold Turkey was a theatrical movie. Thank you for that. Oh, I don't know if I've seen this TV movie, the one with the guy in a town of witches, San Malas, which is, Salem spelled backwards. Oh, reboot The Man from Atlantis. Wouldn't that be cool? But a serious version. Well, I thought Man from Atlantis was fairly serious, but yeah, I would be up for that. It's great to see you, Tracy. As always, thank you so much for your support as a super fan. Would be worried about a Gunsmoke reboot. It would just be so dramatically different from what we saw, I have to believe, these days. I do remember the old 70s show Cliffhangers. It played, well, there were 3 different stories. There was a vampire story, there was a girl reporter story, and there was it The Lost Island? Something like that was the other story. Can't remember. I didn't watch it a lot, but I did see a handful of episodes of that. That was when Fred Silverman moved over from ABC to NBC, and he was supposed to turn the third, the network that was at the time in third place around, and it did not happen. Rich Atwood says, Judge Abby Stone and Dan Fielding, I'm trying to get Richard Mole to play Bull. That would be great. That would be great. Kimberly Wiederhold says she's addicted to books. Never a bad thing. Reading is a great, great thing to do. James Bodnerchuk says, Escape from the Planet of the Apes was my mom's fave. Mine was Beneath. Mine was the original. Hello, one dude. It's good to have you here. Good to have you here, my friend. Yeah, addiction is addiction, be it to whatever. Gene Stapleton and Bob Newhart in it just as they were about to hit big. Yeah, we're talking about Cold Turkey there. Okay, Bubblegum Pop Video says, I like your channel, love the 80 to 2000 shows. Yeah, I love that era of movies. Don't cover a lot of the 90s, but if I did, I'd certainly talk about things like Get a Life. I loved that TV show when it was on. And Married with Children. It debuted in the late 80s, so I focused on it a little bit, but yeah, great period of time, the 80s and the 90s for television. The Stranger Within, very good, written by one of my favorite authors, Richard Matheson, starring Barbara Eden. You're absolutely right, Lounge Dweller. Fantastic TV movie. I don't think I've seen this movie with Connie Selica and a demonic sea turtle. You and I are going to have to talk about that when I get you on the live stream. Let's see. Tom says, never seen a DC or Marvel movie. Wow, except Swamp Thing. So I've seen I've seen all iterations of Swamp Thing, whether it's the Adrienne Barbeau version, the original, directed by Wes Craven, or the Heather Locklear sequel, or the DC TV series that debuted a couple of years back and ran for one season. I'm surprised, though, that you haven't given some of those other shows a chance. There are some pretty good ones out there. Particularly I have to say, I'm a DC guy, but the Marvel movies most of them have been pretty darn fantastic. Wolfman Jack, what a voice. So darn good. And Bruce Campbell, come on, give me some sugar, baby. There's none better than Bruce Campbell as Ash in the Evil Dead trilogy. I'm hoping that someday they reach out to me and say, you know what, you have talked about us a lot and we'd like to sponsor you. That would be fantastic. Not going to happen, but that would be fantastic. John H. says, I'm a big fan of Rob Stone's. He grew up in the Highland Park enclave of Dallas. Awesome. James Boddenchuk says, I loved Casey in Rankin Bass, The Return of the King animated. Oh, yeah, Casey Kasem. Yep. Emily says, a demonic sea turtle must have been a shell of a movie. That's funny. Okay. I still want to be Bruce Campbell. Hey, superfan Kevin Davis is here. Awesome. Good to have you here. Let's see. Kimberly Wiederhold says, first time on a plane, I told people the plot of every plane disaster movie I saw. Oh, you had to be fun that night, Kimberly, or that day. Let's see. Terrell says, if they're going to reboot The $6 Million Man for a modern day audiences, fans of the original would have been very disappointed. Yeah, I think a lot of these reboots are disappointing, right? They do not stick with the formula. And they tweak things, and I get it. I totally understand the idea of being inclusive and diversity and all those kind of things, and where you can make it feel good and natural, you should. Sometimes, though, well, we all go overboard sometimes, but sometimes they go overboard. All right, Susan Anton was the girl reporter. Thank you so much for that. C.W. McCall, Convoy singer, passed away as well. Now, he was also... in his Chip Davis is his real name, right? Chip Davis, and he was part of Fresh Air, if I remember correctly. Okay, let's see. Mannheim Steamroller, excuse me. Joanna Cameron made grown U.S. Navy men get up for Saturday morning TV. Yeah, and young teenage boys as well. It would be good to see a reboot of Buck Rogers. Great suggestion. That's okay. You know what? I love it when people have the ability to be super fans and support the channel in that way, but I get it. Not everybody can do that at all times, and don't stress. Do not stress. Superfan George Ayers is here. Good to have you here. Tom McCluskey says, I'm a Degrassi fan. I didn't watch a lot of that. And maybe that's something I should go back and watch. Let's see. Oh, Scott Birch says, I've been watching a lot of Mannix. That's awesome. I loved old Mike Connors in Mannix. Good stuff. Kimberly Wiederhold. I think I knew this about that you were named after Kim Hunter. Jean-Marie says, I've got him addicted to Remind magazine. That is awesome. I'm glad. I love that magazine. Hopefully everybody caught my recent video about the April edition, which is just a fantastic edition. It's the 80s, it's actually, there's a large section that's devoted to 80s crime, cop, action TV shows, but they also cover the 50s, 60s, and 70s in there as well. Let's see. Did not know Gene Stapleton was in Clute, but that's probably Zuper because I don't think I've ever seen Clute. Yes, lots of new names here tonight. That's awesome to have so many new people here. Superfan Tracy Rothmeyer says that she misses Barney Miller. Great show. It really was. Let's see what else we got. Oh, the animated Planet of the Apes was really interesting. It was done by the same guy who animated the early Johnny Quest episodes, and you can tell in the style. Yes, I think it was called the Prettiest Day of My Life or something like that was the episode where Chris Peterson was his character's name on the show, was a male model. Oh, so funny. There's another one, Tom. Have you ever seen Zoo Animals on Parade? That episode. Oh, I never get tired of watching that episode. The songs are so ludicrous and stupid. So much fun. Yes, James, if any of us know someone who's fighting through an addiction, something that's particularly harmful for them, the last thing in the world we can do is abandon them. We should never do that. Karen Lee Maloney in the house. Emily Miller, I agree with you. DC television, Marvel movies. I did love the Batman, though. But it's not really that extended universe kind of movie. It's a standalone, and we'll see what they do if they do a follow-up of that. Hat City Diggers, welcome. Good to have you with us. Daryl, Briscoe County Jr. I've been watching those episodes again. They're on Tubi. I love Tubi. And that's just such a great show. Just such a great show. Thank you so much for the kind words, Hat City Digger. Great to have you with us this evening. Yes, one of the funniest shows ever, Lounge Dweller. Get a life. So funny. I do remember Wizards and Warriors, starred Jeff Conway and Walter Olkowicz. Great show from the 80s. Sorry, sad it was only lasting one season. Was a Facebook friends with Mr. Olkowicz. Nice guy. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that last name wrong. Well, thank you for sharing, Blutch Bear. All right. Reimagined is the new terminology for reboot. Yeah, darn reboots. Here's another fun suggestion from Terrell. Can I please suggest you do a video on why Valerie Harper was fired from her self-titled NBC comeback vehicle of a sitcom? Was she fired, Terrell, or did she leave on her own accord? That's because when it changed from Valerie to the Hogan family, I was under the impression she left. She'd been holding out for more money, something like that. The reboot was good. Kevin, superfan Kevin Davis says, I did enjoy the Battlestar Galactica reboot. I do enjoy classic more still. Reboots are hit and miss, Dolph. Absolutely. Chip Davis. Yeah. I think Chip Davis is essentially C.W. McCall. At least that's the way I understood it. Oh, who wasn't a Jean-Marie Hon, I think, H-O-N, I think is what it is, fan when we were younger. She being the star of Arc 2, and she also appeared in some episodes of Man from Atlantis, going back to that earlier conversation. Great potential topic for another video. I do not know the answer to that question. Tim Berry, welcome to the live stream, but it's something that I could potentially look up and publish a video about. Danny, you did not get a notification because this is a surprise live stream. As you know, I typically live stream on Thursday nights, but I can't this week because I have a family obligation. And I was prepared to watch Pat's live stream, but he was unable to get everything put together. I think we're going to have a heck of a great live stream next Wednesday from Pat. I cannot wait. He and I were talking a little bit about that. But so here I am hanging out. Ben Patterson says, actually, Chip Davis was not CW, but he played drums on Convoy and helped revive C.W. McCall's career later. Interesting. I did not know that. For some reason in the back of my head, I thought they were the same person. Tom says, get Retro Fan Magazine. Pricey, but great. You know what? Retro Fan Magazine is awesome. And you know what? We've got a lot of people here. We've got 75 people here. You stick around for another 15 minutes, and someone here in this live stream tonight is going to win a copy of the brand new Retro Fan Magazine. Hasn't even been sent out yet. Hasn't hit the newsstands yet. It's the May 2022 edition. I've been given a little bit of a preview of it. It's fantastic. And I'm going to have one lucky viewer tonight have a copy of that magazine. I think it retails for like $11. That magazine sent to their home, as long as you live in the U.S. So stick around. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a quick break, and we'll get back. We'll chat some more. But in the meantime, I've got a couple videos we'll play, and then I'll be back. So let me fire up. This is an old-time video that I did. I made this long before I did the videos that are currently on my channel. I really had to dig deep to find this one. But I've never been a big fan of clowns. Have you? Ever wonder what happens when you click on that little join button and become a super fan of the channel? Well, the thing that you might notice right away is that I do my best to prioritize your comments and respond to them first. It's the very least that I can do. And if you stick around for a while, you'll probably also discover the channel member updates. These are exclusive videos that I do 2 to 3 times a month. You know, I gave away a bunch of Remind magazines during the last one. And we have exclusive live streams from time to time. Not every month, but at least a couple of times each quarter. But more than anything else, you have my total appreciation. I know it's only a couple of bucks, but it takes effort to click on that join button and express your support in that unique way. Here's the current list of channel subscribers who have signed up as members and become super fans of the channel. Thanks again. How did the classic, iconic television program The Honeymooners get its name? Well, it goes all the way back to 1951, and the name, believe it or not, came directly from the show's star. We're talking about Mr. Jackie Gleason. He was sitting around with a couple writers from another show that he was working on called The Cavalcade of Stars, and the writers were Joe Bigelow and Harry Crane, and they were talking about this sketch, and it was an idea that Gleason had about this husband and wife, and the husband's this loud-mouthed, blustery guy. So Harry Crane suggested they call it The Beast, and that didn't sit right with Gleason because, you know what he said? The guy isn't a beast at all. He really, really loves his wife. Sure, they fight a lot, but that's just kind of like the neighborhood I grew up in. And so they thought about it a bit more, and Harry Crane came back and said, why don't we call it The Lovers? And then Gleason said, you know what, that's a little bit closer. We're getting close, but if people hear that, they might construe that they're not married. They might think that they're living in sin, and we want everybody to know they're married. So Harry Crane came up with, well, we'll call it The Couple Next Door then. And that's when a light bulb went off in Gleason's head, and he said, nah, we're going to call it The Honeymooners. This is Dave Sundstrom, and I hope you enjoyed this 2-minute memory. Now it's your turn. Leave your memories in the comment section below. And while you're at it, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. And what the heck, why not even subscribe to the channel? I talk about music, movies, and television, mostly from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, and as always, thank you so much for watching. All right, we're back. So let's read some more comments real quick. Dave Sundstrom, Get Smart, Mel Brooks, Buck Henry, Don Adams, or Dick Van Dyke Show. Love them both. Dick Van Dyke Show. Hey, superfan Lisa Fields is here. Good to have you with us. Spike Spikerson, superfan Spike Spikerson, says, just saw Pat's new video on Ivan Dixon. Good stuff. Yes, it was. Train Nerd says, like, share, subscribe, and remake The Boy in the Plastic Bubble. I remember that show. That was pretty good. John Travolta. John H. FETV just had a survey to rerun the most popular episodes of several series. Barney Miller reran Hash. You know what? And Jack Sue's retrospective. Awesome. I don't get FETV around here. Wish I did. Mike Jones says TV Land was so much better when it was airing Sonny and Cher, Mannix, and other shows from the 60s and 70s. Totally agree. Daryl Johnston, again, thank you for reminding folks to hit the like button. Zuberplex, superfan Zuberplex, said, Pat made a new video. It may be a repurposing of an old video. Superfan Byron USA, welcome. Good to have you here. I don't always see you in the live stream, so it's so good to have you with us this evening. Blade Star 2 says, if you ever do a show on comics, after I got out of the Navy, I was a manager and eventually the owner of comic book stores from 1984 to 2008, so I can help. Dude, you were living my dream. You were living my dream. Here's the deal. Shoot me an email to this email address right here, if you would. And let's connect. I would love to interview you for either a video or on a future live stream, and just hear your stories, your adventures of running a comic book shop, because I'm sure you had a few. All right, that's the email address. Shoot me a message. I'd love to hear about it. Let me take that off the screen, get back to comments. Superfan Superplex says they should reboot Batman the animated series without Robin. No Robin? I don't know. I like Robin. Tim Berry says, going to see the Batman tomorrow. I think you'll enjoy it. It's long. Don't drink anything, substantive before going into that 3-hour movie. And Rich Atwood points out correctly that Batman with Adam West and Burt Ward is free to watch on YouTube Movies right now. Superfan Lisa Fields says she loved Get a Life. Such a great show. And Mike and Kathy Reynolds watch an episode of Emergency every day. John H. says that Chris Elliott's parents on Get a Life were Eleanor Donahue, Princess from Father Knows Best, also Ellie from the first season of Miss Ellie from the first season of the Andy Griffith Show, and his own father, Bob Elliott, famous for the comedy team of Bob and Ray. Kenneth Wilkinson says, Dave, don't forget to play some Lawrence Welk. Well, I only do that. On special occasions. Folks know how to get the Welk if they really want it. Tom says, Dave, you need to watch Wizards by Ralph Bakshi. Good versus evil, magic versus technology. I have never seen that. Now, I've seen other movies by Ralph Bakshi, American Pop, The Lord of the Rings, just to name a couple. Of course, he was also heavily involved in the Spider-Man animated series from the late 60s. Krusty McGee asks if I remember Susie Kurtz. Sure do. She was in Bright Lights Big City with Michael J. Fox, I believe. And wasn't she in Nurses? I don't know about the sitcom she starred in, though. I don't remember that one. John H. says, I read that Greg Sierra didn't get along with Hal Linden, hence he left Barney Miller for another short-lived show, AES Hudson Street. Don't remember that show at all. Blatchy Bear says, hey, Dave, why is Moonlighting not on streaming? Rumor has it. Any show that has a significant amount of music, modern music from, there's all sorts of rules and in terms of how you pay out for that stuff. It's really a mess. One of the reasons that for the longest time WKRP wasn't available on either DVD or streaming, they had to go back and they had to insert music over other music and just take things out, add things. It was a big mess. And you know what? Some of this stuff you can really tell that they're not playing what was originally played when it was originally broadcast on CBS. All right, great stuff so far. Did you like my clown video? It is creepy, isn't it? And they keep your distance. Absolutely, these guys. Man, I'm not a big fan of clowns. Conrad says, no fair. These clowns are all in black and white, no colorful colors. We're seeing, you're seeing clowns the way they should be seen there. Absolutely, Steve. Absolutely. There is a serious dark side to clowns. You know what? I'm excited because I just got notification that I have a new member to the channel this evening. Let me take a look and let me scroll down and see if I can see who that is. Oh my goodness, it's Mike and Kathy Reynolds. Mike and Kathy Reynolds, thank you so much for becoming a member, clicking on that little join button. It's not a sizable investment, but I know that, you know what? It's extra. It's extra. It's an extra step. It's a commitment. So thank you so much. I appreciate your support so very much. Let me see if I can find the right way to express my appreciation to you. You know what? No better way than let Adam West say it for me.
Thank you. 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 Thank you.
Let's have Gomer say it as well.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mike and Kathy Reynolds. It's great to have you as a super fan, and hopefully you'll go back and I just actually posted a video, a members only video earlier today. I shared in this video. It's a silly video, but I shared my photo novel collection. Does anybody else remember photo novels? And that's the kind of stuff that I actually do in my members only videos. They're the stuff that you normally see. That's going to continue to be available to everybody. I don't want to take anything away from anyone. But if you want to see me share my photo novel collection with you, please go back and watch that video, Mike and Kathy Reynolds. I hope you enjoy it. And thank you so much for your support. All right, let me take a look here. Let's see what else we got going on here. I've got some more videos to play, but let me see. Kevin Davis, superfan Kevin Davis, said, my maternal grandfather gave me a lot of comics. Hopefully you've hung on to them. Sisters, that's what it was. Thank you so much, Matt Sweeney. That's what Swoozy was in. Mr. Led says, I wish I could say hi individually, but my wife would wonder where I went. Good night, all. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's tough to say hello to everyone. I've discovered that. I have discovered that. Yeah, WKRP had the same issue. And by the way, Raja, 1938, it's so good to have you on the live stream tonight. Thanks for hanging out with me. Oh, yes. Superfan Tracy Rothmeyer says, just saw Paper Moon for the umpteenth time. Love that movie. 420 says, I know I'd rather wait in 70s gas lines than pay almost $5 a gallon. It's getting so expensive. Totally hear you there. Comic books, yeah, when my parents first bought me comics, they were 12 cents each. Once upon a time. Once upon a very long time. Terrell Eugene Bellinger says, I'm still waiting for the Chris Elliott sitcom Get a Life to become available on streaming services like Tubi or Pluto. Wouldn't that be awesome if that was on either of those services? As it is, you can catch a bunch of episodes right here on YouTube. People have uploaded them. Those are fun to watch. Let's see what else we got here. Yes, Superfan Superplex says Paper Moon was a great movie. The TV series, alas, was not. Jay Aldridge says Moonlighting was on YouTube last month. I watched a few episodes, but the music, you can't hear it. It sounds like they were maybe muting some of the music. You know, it's always a treat to have both Thrash Pondo Ponza and Steve Tevis in the house. If you haven't checked out Steve Tevis's The Life and Sad Ending channel, you should. It's a great one. Thrash Pondo's channel, fantastic as well. If you love dad jokes, if you love humor, you're going to love Thrash Pondo stuff. And Danny Staten was here earlier. He has a fantastic channel as well, where he does all sorts of fun things. I had sent him some copies of Remind magazine not too long ago, and I included in a #2 edition of Chuck Norris Karate Commando's comic book for him to take a look at, and he reviewed that. It's a fun review, so you might want to go back and check that out. Let's see. Tim Berry says, oh man, bringing up Moonlighting has me thinking about Bruce Willis and his current struggles. Yeah, tough. You know, we all have these, darn it all, we all have these battles we have to fight, and I wish him the very, very best, him and his family, because that's not something you fight alone. Kaiser Soza, welcome to the live stream. Sherry Hinton, welcome. Good to have you here. Let's see. Yeah, Jay Aldridge says you can't hear the music on the Moonlighting videos on YouTube. Yeah, they've just muted them out, I'm sure. Maybe a video on Joanna Casti. You know what? There is someone, his name's the Web Stylist. He's a community member. He actually knows Joanna, and I would love to actually interview her. But yeah, and maybe do a video on her as well. Danny says, love seeing the Batman and Robin photo on the wall behind you. Yeah, Danny sent that to me. It's autographed by Adam West and Burt Ward. And if you look below that, Danny, you'll see a Don Knotts photo you sent me as well. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Let's see. Don't tell mom the babysitter's dead. I remember that movie. Yeah, Christine Applegate, right? Yeah. Terrell says, can I please suggest you do a Whatever Happened to Robert Whiteman, best known for replacing Richard Thomas? That is a really good suggestion. I love that. I'll add that to my potential topics list. Mike Jones says, Jeff, just laugh out loud at Adam West and Gomer. My wife said, what the heck are you watching? You know what? I think my live streams, truthfully, they just defy description, right? Yes, Lisa, our photo novels were awesome. I loved them. And, you know, as I just said in the members only video earlier that I posted earlier today, I said it was how we watched TV shows and movies before VCRs, DVDs, and streaming. You know, I had those in the late, like 77, 78, something like that. And we didn't get a VCR until early 80s, like 83, something like that. Die Hard is a good movie. Kenneth, did you save them? I saved a handful. Yes, I have 3 photo novels that are Star Trek episodes, City on the Edge of Forever, Trouble with Tribble, and All Our Yesterdays. All Our Yesterdays. Hopefully everybody got a chance, which reminds me, hopefully everybody got a chance to check out one of my more recent videos where I talk about a decision that Gene Roddenberry and his creative team did that would absolutely drive this network censors nutty. It's a fun video, and I love what they did with Mariette Hartley later on. After this is a scene, her dressed right here is from All Our Yesterdays. A great episode of Trek, season 3 episode, but they did something later on in the early 70s when Mariette was appearing in a Gene Roddenberry produced television movie. All right, let me pull that from the screen. Here I am, still hanging out. Let's do this. Retro fan, everybody start. What I need you to do is put hashtag retro in the chat, all lowercase. Hashtag retro in the chat. I'm going to play a couple more videos, and then when we get back, I'm going to give away a copy of Retro Fan Magazine. This isn't even out on the newsstands yet. It hasn't been sent out to anybody yet. It's the May 2022 issue of Retro Fan. Promises to be a fantastic magazine. They did send me a preview digital edition to take a peek at, and I'm loving reading it. And they'll send you, whoever wins the drawing, they're going to send you an actual physical hard copy as long as you live here in the United States. So let's go ahead and I'll take that off the screen. And we'll play a few videos, like I said, and then we'll come back and we will do that drawing. All right. What will we play now? Well, we'll start with something creepy again. And then we'll go from there. This is My Curse. Curse of Dark Shadows.
This brooding old mansion hides shocking secrets. See the mysteries of Collins House unfold on Dark Shadows.
Barnabas Collins and Dark Shadows. Oh, I have memories of this show, but it's a mixed bag for sure. After all, I suffered from the Dark Shadows curse for months. What curse, you ask? Well, give me a couple of minutes and I'll get to that. Let me state for the record that I am not much of a soap opera guy. There was a point in the early 80s when I did jump on the General Hospital bandwagon, but I didn't stay on it for long. After all, I didn't want to put my man card in jeopardy. Still, Dark Shadows was different, especially when Collinwood's resident vampire, Barnabas Collins, played by the great Jonathan Frid, was introduced. I mean, come on, where else could you find a show on daytime television, not only with vampires, but witches, werewolves, and ghosts? Sadly, it's the ghostly apparitions on the show that ultimately resulted in my undoing, but more in just a minute. So truth be told, I kind of fell into Dark Shadows. I didn't watch it often. Instead, it was something that I'd watch with my mother when I was sick or pretending to be sick and staying home from school. I distinctly remember more than once her popping the top on 2 bottles of Coke and asking me if I wanted to watch the show with her. Inferred within the invitation was the unspoken agreement that I wouldn't report back to my dad what we'd watched. As I held that ice-cold bottle of Coke in my hand, I never imagined that this little unspoken pact between me and my mom would come back to haunt me, literally haunt me, because while vampires and werewolves didn't really scare me much, ghosts really freaked me out. At that age, I routinely had nightmares about them, and to this day, I remember a dream about a ghost that seemed so real that, well, I'm still not certain that it was a dream. So I really can't remember the details of the episode, but I do remember that ghost. Of course, that led to a rather sleepless night, a night where I would find myself eventually sleeping on my parents' floor. The next day, under intense interrogation, my dad wanted to know what I'd watched that had caused such vivid nightmares. Of course, I couldn't tell him about Dark Shadows. That would get my mother in trouble. So I did what I had to do. I blamed the bad dreams on Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
Zoinks! 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 Zoinks!
Man, this one hurts even to think about today. But it made perfect sense to my dad, and he promptly grounded me from watching the show. For how long, I wanted to know? To that question, he smugly said that it depended on me. When I could stay in my own room and quit waking him up, I could watch it again. Earlier in this video, I said that the curse lasted months. It may have even lasted a year. It felt like a long, long time. And even though I kind of hated Dark Shadows for a while, I did eventually return to the show via the Dell comic version. I love Dell Comics almost as much as DC and Marvel. In addition to Dark Shadows, they had versions of Star Trek and Lost in Space that I really loved. Then, in the early 90s, Dark Shadows returned. This time, it was a primetime series on NBC. Like most of the nation, I watched the first few episodes, and then I became distracted with other things. I did like this version, however. I thought Ben Cross was great as Barnabas Collins. I loved him years earlier in Chariots of Fire, and this was a nice departure from that type of role. Sadly, the series was canceled due to a lack of viewership after just one season. And the less said about the Tim Burton comedy starring Johnny Depp, the better. Hey, I'm a big fan of Burton's stuff, but this just didn't work, and as a result, it was a box office bomb. End of the day, Dark Shadows is a moment in time for me. It is forever ingrained in my mind, along with The First Man on the Moon and the Vietnam War, as an artifact of an era. And it was a special time with my mom. I still remember her sitting on the couch watching her daytime shows, folding clothes and sipping her bottle of Coke. It's a good memory, and I'm thankful for it and for her. Despite the Dark Shadows curse, I'm glad I stuck to my guns and didn't go all Benedict Arnold on my mom. So that's it. What do you think? Were you a fan of the original Dark Shadows? If so, let me know in the comments section below. And while you're at it, please click on the thumbs up icon. And why not consider whether or not you'd like to subscribe to my channel. I talk about music, movies, and television. Mostly from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, and as always, thank you so much for watching.
Friday, David Banner's in for a shock when he comes face to face with another Hulk.
I was just like you.
Next, it's a special double dose of the Dukes. First, the IRS wants Boss Hogg.
You are looking at one dead hog.
And the Duke boys gotta bail him out. Then Luke gets thrown back into the ring in the second hour, all following the Incredible Hulk Friday.
Excuse me, may I go to the bathroom first?
Of course you may.
Thank you.
All right. I love that scene from Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. So funny. Steve Martin, Michael Caine. Just it doesn't get any better than that. The movie was directed by Frank Oz, better known as Yoda, right? Frank Oz also has a great scene at the beginning of The Blues Brothers. Any of you that have seen that movie. Okay. Let me share my screen real quick. Share screen. Let's do this. Sharing that screen. All right. We've got 32 entries so far. 32 entries. I'd love to see a few more. I know that, we got 86 people in the live stream. All you have to do is type in #retro. #retro to become eligible to receive a copy of the brand new edition of Retro Fan magazine. These guys will ship it directly to your home. And let me again put the cover on the screen so everybody can see it. There it is, the May 2022 edition. Yes, that is Mo Howard in the upper right-hand corner. I saw that in the chat. And in addition, there's a great article on Sergio Aragonés, Mad Magazine. Steve Tevis mentioned in the chat that he had been a reader of Mad Magazine since the 60s, so you're very familiar with Sergio's work. There's also, I love this Kung Fu Grip, History of G.I. Joe. Hey, later on, I'm going to treat you to a Dave Sundstrom original called Kung Fu Grip. And then there's also a great article on the Lone Ranger on Saturday morning. So 42 entries in now. It would be cool if we got up to 50, but I'm only going to go for, I'm going to put the timer at 30 seconds, and then we will call it good. So let me go ahead and throw that timer on there. 30 more seconds to get your entry in. All you have to do is type #retro into the chat. If you are in the U.S., you have to be in the U.S. to be eligible. Unfortunately, our friends at Tomorrow's Publications, I should say, can only ship to the U.S. But if you type in #retro, just like we have here with 44 entries, then you will be eligible for the drawing. All right, let me take that off the screen. Yeah, let's throw on this. There we go. We're live streaming tonight, folks. Live streaming, and it's the good stuff. The good stuff. And there's Snoopy. I'm sharing that for no other reason than to stall so we could get that one more entry in there. We're at 46 entries. Love it, love it, love it. Let me take the picture of the magazine off the screen real quick here. Let's do that. And let's do it. Here we go. Clicking the button. Let's see who our winner is this evening. Dave Claroni. Awesome. That is freaking awesome. Dave Claroni. I'm so excited for you. Here's the deal, Dave. All I need you to do is shoot me a message. Just send it to that email address right there that's on your screen, bottom left corner. Send me a message to that email address. Include your name and address. And remind me that you were a winner tonight. A winner of that May 2022 edition of Retro Fan Magazine. That's what I get for multitasking. But anyway, and then next, let's see, are we going to have a live stream next week? I think we will. I think it's likely to, we will do a live stream on Thursday next week. Next week, we will be giving away an annual subscription to a full 1 year subscription to Remind Magazine. I love those folks, and I love their continued support. And so we're not going to leave them behind. Obviously, I have great partnership. I'm not sponsored by Remind Magazine, but a great partnership with Remind Magazine as well. And the fun thing about those two magazines is they both focus on kind of nostalgic topics, but they're different. Remind Magazine is really kind of like, it's a little bit lighter. When I think about it covers a lot in a lot of time periods, whereas, it covers a lot of time from the 50s all the way through the 90s. Whereas Retro Fan Magazine it's kind of a deeper dive. So they're both great magazines, and I'm a huge fan of both of them. So anyway, Dave Claroni, super excited for you. Make sure you send me your name and address to that email address. If you missed it, just rewind a little bit. Go back there and you can find it. Let me read some more comments here. Let's see. So many comments. Oh, Kimberly Wiederhold wanted to know if you could enter more than once. It only counts you one time. Let's see. And Ben Patterson asked, what magazine had Marriott Hartley on the cover saying, I'm not James Garner's wife? I don't know. Was it People? Right, no clue. Let's see. So looking forward to it, Danny. Thank you so much. Emily Miller says, I never understood the fear of paranormal or the supernatural. You know what? I'm not afraid of it much anymore either. But as a kid, I was a bit of a scaredy cat. I'll be truthful. I will be truthful with you. Let's see. Yes, Pat McCormick, who is here. Good to have you with us this evening. Hope you don't mind me still in your spot, Pat. Just to hang out, right? I didn't have anything going tonight. It's unfortunately my conflict's tomorrow. And so knowing that you were going to do this live stream tonight, I figured I'd jump on and connect with this wonderful, engaged community. Such good people. And you know what? Got a new super fan, a new channel member as I was visiting. That always makes my evening. So anyway, I am so excited for your live stream next Wednesday. I am not going to say any more about it than that, other than I know you have a great guest, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and I cannot wait to hear the conversation. All right, what else do we got? Oh, Tim says, my comment is now forgotten. You know what? There's just so many, Tim. It's not forgotten. Well, maybe it is. It's possible. I'm so old. If I read it and forgot it, I apologize. But the chances are that I just simply skipped it. Let's see what else we got going here. A lot going on. It's the whole multitasking, trying to push buttons and do all sorts of things. It's a one-man show here on the live stream. So forgive me, Tim, if in any way I have wronged you. Raja1938 says, Ben Cross, RIP. And Jerry Gillespie, welcome to the live stream, Jerry, says, of course, Rydell High was in Greece. Yeah, it sure was. Pat's giving hints about who might be next week. She is a female. She is a female, and I think you will enjoy the conversation. Let's see. What else do we got? Yeah, I threw Scooby under the bus. That was a mistake on my part. Should never have done that. But I didn't want to get my mom in trouble for letting me watch Dark Shadows. So, what else do we got going here? Tim says, I always blame my big brother. That works if you have a big brother to blame. Now, I did have a little brother. Some of you know my brother Steve. He's a YouTube creator as well. And I would, from time to time, try to blame things on him if I thought I could get away with it. The guilt, blaming a little brother, it gets to you after a while. Let's see. Mark Bruschi says, time to go eat a chili dog. That is a wonderful idea. It's been fun and interesting. Wish you all nothing but wonderful things. Well, great having you with us this evening, Mark. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, my mom really enjoyed watching those old AMC movies as well. American Movie Classics isn't what it once was, right? Is not what it once was. Raja 1938 says, love that tense music from The Incredible Hulk. I did too. Great music on The Incredible Hulk. Fantastic. I just realized my microphone has been away from me all evening. Hopefully folks have been able to hear me okay. Just moved it up a little bit. Hopefully that wasn't too much of a distraction. I'll keep scrolling here. Johnny Quest was a great Saturday morning cartoon. Great comment there. Rock Zulin, welcome to the live stream. Yeah, Superfan Lance Chaffin says, did think there was no stream this week. No stream tomorrow night because I've got a family obligation, but I did find out that Pat wasn't streaming, so I popped on and hanging out with you guys for a little bit. Scott Barnes, my good friend Scott Barnes. I just love this man. So wonderful, lifelong friend. Yeah, really. It feels like a lifetime at least. I've known him for decades. Says Frank Oz also in a great scene in Spies Like Us. Yeah, sure was. Frank Oz, when he was a director, but he was also an actor, a puppeteer, part of Jim Henson's team. So good. Let's see what else we got here. I'm glad you found the channel as well, Tim. Glad you found the channel. I'm scrolling through all the retros here. Yes, the voice of Grover, Bert, and Cookie Monster. Muggsy was that dog that... I can't laugh. I'm trying to do the laugh. Something like that. But again, congratulations, Dave Claroni. Looks like you arrived just in the nick of time. Well done. Well done. Yes, Sergio Aragonis was the creator of Gru the Wanderer. Nice little shout out there. Johnny Quest does kick A. Kick A. Kung Fu Grip joke. Yeah, probably wouldn't be appropriate. And you know that these live streams are rated PG. So thanks for joining. Thanks for restraining yourself, Tom. I appreciate it. I do. Let's see what else we got here. Scrolling through. So much great conversation. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to play a couple more videos. I'll come back and we'll visit a little bit more. And then we'll probably call it a night. We'll see how things go. We will see how things go. So, let's start with this. And then we'll just do some other stuff.
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
Over the past couple of years, I've posted a number of different videos about MASH to YouTube, and without fail, on each one of those videos, there are numerous comments either praising Alan Alda or blaming the man for the show's shift in tone during its later seasons. Interestingly, there seems to be very little middle ground. Yep, most fans of the show seem to have an opinion about whether or not Alan Alda ruined MASH. But before we get to Alda, let's talk for just a moment about the show. During the mid-70s, I think it would be fair to say that MASH was one of the most popular TV shows around. There were so many things that this show had going for it. First and foremost, the entire cast was great. But it was more than just that. The creative team, led by Larry Gelbart, was top-notch, and the scripts that the actors were being given allowed them to shine regardless of whether their role was a big one or small one in that week's episode. Over the course of the show's 11 seasons, MASH won numerous Emmy and Golden Globe awards. And beyond the accolades, the show was, from a ratings perspective, hugely successful. So with all that said, like I mentioned earlier, there are those who feel that the show became nearly unwatchable during its final seasons, and quite frankly, their fingers are pointing in Alan Alda's direction. Never mind that the showrunners for the series were actually Larry Gelbart, Gene Reynolds, and Burt Metcalf. For whatever reason, folks just like to blame Alda for the show's shift in tone, probably because Alan ended up writing 18 episodes of the series and directed nearly twice that many over the show's run. Still, there are other television historians who say not so fast. They like to point out that the show's producers have gone on record as saying that they never really wanted the show to be a knee-slapping comedy. The most obvious example of that is that they didn't want the show to have a laugh track. It's a battle that they lost here in the US because CBS just couldn't imagine the show without it. However, the producers did get the network to concede that the laugh track would not be used during scenes where the surgeons were working on patients. And as time went on, specifically around the beginning of the 6th season, the producers were able to begin to use that laugh track less and less. I guess by that time, CBS realized that they had a huge hit on their hands, canned laughter or not. Additionally, as many of the original cast members left the program, the new characters written into the show seemed designed to add a bit of dramatic heft to the show. And you know what? I'm quite certain that Alda didn't have a hand in the creation of the characters of Honeycutt, Winchester, or Potter. That said, even those historians who contend that Alan Alda wasn't directly responsible for the show's shift in tone acknowledge that during those final seasons, it was some of his scripts, as well as the episodes that he directed, that took the show to places that I don't think many of us saw it going during those first few seasons. Regardless of which side of the argument you land on, it's difficult to ignore that Alan Alda was a force to be reckoned with on the show. Some say that Alan tried too hard to insert his own political ideology into the show. Truthfully, I don't know how I feel about that. Clearly, there were episodes during those later seasons that seemed to have a bit of an agenda to do more than just entertain. But were all of those episodes written by Alan? No, they weren't. And since it seems like we've transitioned to the portion of this video where we're defending the guy, I think we have to acknowledge that Alda's portrayal of Captain Benjamin Franklin Hawkeye Pierce, the chief surgeon of the 407th Mobile Army Surgical Hospital, well, it was truly something special. Nominated numerous times, Alan Alda won both Emmy Awards as well as Golden Globe Awards for his work on the show. Even most of Alda's harshest critics acknowledged that the man nailed it when it came to playing Hawkeye. He truly owned the role. So that's it. Now here comes the fun part. It's your turn to be the judge. Let me know what you think in the comments section. And while you're at it, I'd love a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. And I would be honored if you would consider subscribing to my channel. I talk about music, movies, and mostly television from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, and as always, thank you so much for watching. So I have got another package that was sent to me, and boy, I'm super excited to open it up. It is from John Stanley. So, John, thank you in advance. Now let's find out what we've got in here. Hang on a second. Holy cow. This is a book that is written by John Stanley. Oh my goodness. The Career That Dripped with Horror is the name of the book. And it says, in print for the first time, the detailed history of how horror hosts Bob Wilkins and John Stanley rose from the dead in 1999 and began making special appearances in the San Francisco Bay Area, attracting those who grew up watching them as well as a whole new generation of fans. Oh my goodness, there's Close Encounters with Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, Legends of Superman, Ray Bradbury, Robert Bloch, Stephen King, and so much more. Very, very cool. Hang on a second. No way. Okay. So this is another book that John has written. It's a postcard for a book called The Funniest Comedy Icons of the 20th Century, Volumes 1 and 2. Nice. And this is what I am going to treasure. John, thank you so much. And autographed pictures is Happy Horrors, dated 3/25/22. Creature features is what it says on the bottom. But wow, I love it. It's got the signature right. I don't know if you can see it. Let me come over this way. Right there, running vertically. That is awesome, John. And I'm gonna frame that. And then I am going to have so much fun reading this book. I can't wait. It appears that there's a section on Adam West and Burt Ward, another section on Christopher Reeve, Dean Cain, Stan Lee, Nicholas Hammond, the original live-action Spider-Man from the 70s TV show, Bruce Lee, Brandon Lee. John, again, thank you so much for this. This is a treasure. I was totally not expecting this. This came unannounced, and wow. Thank you so much.
With a smell like that, he doesn't have a chance.
Escape from dirt and odors with Lemon Fresh Dash. Its lemon freshening power dashes out some of the toughest odors and dashes in freshness.
Howdy, boys. Lose something? It's not him. Maybe over there.
Dash out odors. Dash in freshness.
I hate that when I play a video and it's got a little long ending there. Anyway, apologize for that. Some more comments here. Tracy, thanks for reminding folks to hit the like button. Appreciated. Kaiser Sosa says, hang on to that issue of Retro Fan Magazine. Yeah, you won't want to. That's not something you throw away. You don't throw that away. Lee Van Cleef's TV series, The Master, is now on DVD. That's from Jay Aldridge. Yeah, that was a great show, wasn't it? Mike and Kathy, super fan. Mike and Kathy says, I had to do my homework before I could watch Adam 12. You know what? I had to do my homework before I could watch Star Trek and Gilligan's Island. Rockzilla says, I also liked Have Gun Will Trouble. That was a great show. I didn't watch a ton of that, but it was a great show. Hogan's Heroes or Andy Griffith? Conrad wants to know. Andy Griffith show all the way. And Terrell Eugene Bellinger is asking if I'm still planning to do a Whatever Happened to profile on Aaron Murphy. Sure am. Very soon, not within the next week or two, but it's on my list. It's a long list, yeah. But I'm planning on doing one. Kaiser Soza is asking if anyone is excited about the Munsters remake. A little bit trepidatious on that one. And Rockzilla says TMC is great. Yeah, TMC is great. It's really kind of what AMC once was, and I certainly love it. Kaiser Zosa says, I love the episode where the Incredible Hulk fought his evil twin. That was a good one. And Steve Tevis from The Life and Sad Ending says, Dave, I might have something to send for your museum. Could you put up the address again? It's been up for the last few minutes, so let me go ahead and take that down. No one needs to see that any more than that. I'll put up this message instead. Anyone wants to leave me a voicemail, keep it under 60 seconds. It might end up on a future live stream. Might just end up on a future live stream. So, and play this too. Golden Rage of TV. Come on, you got to check out that man's videos. Pat McCormick. There's that guy knows his stuff over there on the Golden Rage of TV, retro TV trivia. Super great stuff. So yeah, send me a voicemail. May end up on a future live stream. Share a memory, anything, feedback, whatever. You never know. It could end up on a live stream. All right, let's see if there's a few more comments I want to get to. The Green Hornet. I don't know what we're talking about there, but awesome. Love that TV show. Conrad says, I was in Key Club and met Erin Murphy when she was an honorary member from another school. How cool is that? Let's see. What else do we got? Tim Barry says, no Munsters remake. No Munsters remake. And Dave Claroni says, Pat has great content. No doubt about it. Pat does. Let me keep scrolling. I'm going to scroll up and see if I missed anything that I should play here. Oh, Tom, you had John send that to me. Well, thank you. That's what you were talking about sending. Okay, awesome. I got it. There you go. I just, because it didn't have your name on it, I didn't realize that was that you'd had John send that to me. I'm super excited about that. So thank you so much, Tom, as well. Okay. Well, that's good. That is a relief for me because I know that you had been a little bit worried about what had been sent. And yes, it does look like it's going to be a very cool book. Very cool book. Elvira is on Twitter. That does not surprise me. Oh, you're talking to Dave Claroni there. Okay, awesome. All right. Oh, Tom, you're on page 230 of that book? I'm so excited. I'm even more excited to read it now. Is this a recording? No, it is not. It is live, Zuper. It is live. Stephen Adams, musical interpretation and satire. It is so great to have you with us. Another super fan of the channel. He says, Alan is like Rush. Even the critics have to give it up for his work, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And Superplex says, Superfan Superplex says, MASH ended only because Alan Alda left the show. Let's see. I heard talk of a bot, but I have not seen a bot here tonight. I think Emily mentioned it. Lance is mentioning it. I have yet to see the bot. Maybe it's just not showing up on my control panel that I have that StreamYard provides to me. Let's see. Oh, Tom says it's autographed too. I'm on page 230. I've known John my whole life. Very, very cool. We've got to talk more about that. I'm going to start digging into that book. I'm going to have some questions for you, my friend. Dusty Floyd, thank you for joining us this evening. It's been great to have you with us. Superfan Dave Claroni, of course, I remember the Hair Bear Bunch. Great theme song. Wait Till Your Father Gets Home had a great theme song as well. Hanna-Barbera production in the early 70s. Let's see. Superfan Jason Goldtrap says, if this is live, make an ordinary statement and follow it with all she wants to do is dance. Well, let's see. I sure do love my Diet Coke, and all she wants to do is dance. It's live, my friend. It's not Memorex. Okay. And yes, that's funny. But lovable. Jason is incredibly lovable. It's so great to have him as part of our community, as it is great to have you part of the community as well, Emily. All right, got a couple more videos I'll play, and then I'll be back. Let's see what we'll do here. Hang on. We're going to get rid of all this stuff. More fun to play the videos without that. Let's do this one.
Earlier this month, Harvard University's humor magazine, the Harvard Lampoon, sent movie star John Wayne a letter. In part, it said, "You're not so tough. The halls of academia may not be the halls of Montezuma, and maybe ivy doesn't smell like sagebrush, but we know a thing or two about guts." And then the Lampoon challenged conservative Wayne to come to Harvard, which it described as the most intellectual, the most traditionally radical, in short, the most hostile territory on earth. Well, Wayne accepted the challenge, and David Culhane reports.
Even at Harvard University, people go crazy when a real old movie star shows up. Duke John Wayne was mobbed in Cambridge, Massachusetts today. The band played as Wayne rode into town on the top of an armored personnel carrier supplied by sympathizers in the United States Army Reserves. But the hostilities began with a few well-placed collegiate snowballs. Wayne took his lumps like a real He-Man. Even in this center of liberalism, conservative Wayne was met by a crowd of thousands who only wanted to touch him. Police and soldiers had to convoy him into a Harvard Square theater to face a roasting from the Lampoon staff.
Is it true that your toupee is real mohair?
Oh, sure, that's real hair. Not mine, but real hair. I'm having a hard enough time imitating the people that are imitating me.
I don't care what they say about you, Duke. You're still a man.
Why on earth would an old warhorse like John Wayne agree to such a verbal pummeling from these whippersnappers? Well, his latest film was premiered here today. Maybe that had something to do with it. David Culhane, CBS News, Cambridge.
One other question asked of Wayne was whether President Nixon planned to make a movie about himself. Wayne replied, "He's a good enough actor." And that's the way it is. Tuesday, January 15th, 1974. This is Walter Cronkite, CBS News. Good night.
Ghostbusters Afterlife is directed by Jason Reitman. He also had a hand in writing the screenplay along with Gil Kenan. And unlike the 2016 reboot of the Ghostbusters franchise, this movie is a true sequel to Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2, both of which were directed by Reitman's father, Ivan. This movie takes place 30 plus years after Ghostbusters 2 and focuses on a single mother and her two children who have moved to a small town in Oklahoma. The movie stars Carrie Coon, Phil Wolfhard, McKenna Grace, and Paul Rudd, and Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, Annie Potts, and Sigourney Weaver also reprise their roles from the original films, although you'll need to stick around for the first of two post-credit scenes if you want to see Sigourney. I must confess, the thing I was most excited to see was how Paul Rudd's character fit into the franchise, but after viewing the movie, I've got to admit that the biggest surprise for me was McKenna Grace, who plays a very smart and gifted young girl named Phoebe. It really shouldn't have been much of a surprise. I really loved her in a movie on Amazon Prime called Troop Zero that also stars the very funny Jim Gaffigan. Anyway, the entire cast in this movie is really good. Nobody feels like they're being shoehorned into a film where they don't belong. I have heard that some folks feel that the first 30 minutes or so of the movie is a bit slow, but you know what? That's time well spent getting to know Phoebe and her family, of course, connection to the old Ghostbusters team, but I don't want to give too much away. Every surprise in this movie is well worth waiting for. Just like the original Ghostbusters, there are some genuinely scary moments in this film. And of course, there are plenty of laughs along the way as well. It's worth mentioning that this movie has a bit of a Goonies vibe to it. Clearly, director Reitman not only has a soft spot for his father's original Ghostbusters movies, but many other iconic films of the 80s as well. End of the day, I really enjoyed this flick. I will go on record as saying that I like the 2016 reboot as well, but this one was way more special for me. And I'm not ashamed to admit that there's a moment towards the end of this film where I had to lift my glasses up and wipe away a tear or two. Anyway, using a 4-star rating system, I give this movie all 4 stars. Ghostbusters Afterlife delivers the goods, and it's exactly what it is supposed to be, a wonderful time at the movies. All right, now it's your turn. Please feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section. And while you're at it, I'd love a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and I would be absolutely honored if you would consider subscribing to my channel, where I mostly talk about music, movies, and television from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, and as always, thanks so much for watching.
Introducing the Bundys of Chicago, a family like you've never seen.
Mom, Dad, you're grounded.
Al Bundy, a real man's man.
Now I'm going to watch the news. And when it's over, I want some form of dead animal on my plate.
His lovely wife, Peggy.
Don't mind Al. It's just his time of the month.
Their two wonderful children.
You're disgusting. And you're failing 5 classes.
And their newlywed neighbors.
I love you, Marcy.
I love you, Steve.
I hate them, Peg.
They hate you, Al.
They're not the Cosbys. They're the Bundys. And they're married with children.
All right, I'm back. So a few more comments, and then I think we'll wrap it up for the evening. So let me see what I start a few more here while I was watching the videos along with you guys. Let's see. Here we go. Blotchy Bear says, Dave, time to do a video on the impact and influence of MTV. I have done an MTV video. So maybe I'll play that on a future live stream. But if you go to the channel, you can find that. Just type in Dave Sundstrom and MTV at YouTube, and you'll find the video. Kaiser Soza says, remember when the Fonz had a Saturday morning cartoon? Sure, Fonz and the Happy Days gang. Didn't he have like a Spike was the dog? They were time traveling, I believe. Tim Barry says, sorry for being so talkative for my first time here. It feels like home. Great to have you with us. And that's what we live for, right? This isn't a chance for us to get together as a community, like-minded souls. We don't talk about politics. We don't talk about religion. We talk about the good stuff. We're talking about music, movies, mostly TV from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. John H. says, Harvard students would likely be more hostile to a conservative nowadays. It's possible. It's possible. We have lost that ability to look at, try to understand others' perspectives. We're very polarized as a nation, which is one of the reasons why I avoid topics like politics, is because it's hard to have civil conversations. We've lost that art. Scott Barnes says, gotta run. Take care, my friend. Need to get you on a live stream in the not too distant future as well. Sakina McMurrin, good to have you with us on the live stream. And Kaiser Soza says Ghostbusters Afterlife made less money than the last Ghostbusters movie. I'm surprised at that. I didn't think the last movie made a ton of money, and I really, really enjoyed this new version. A little bit saddened to hear that. All right, folks, we're hitting the hour-and-a-half mark. I'm going to leave you with an original composition by Dave Sundstrom, and then maybe another video or two, and then we're calling it a night. Thanks so much for joining me. It's been great. I love doing these live streams. I love connecting with all of you. I love having you as part of my YouTube community. Thanks so much, folks, and, just have a remainder of the week. I just hope it's great. I hope it's tremendous for you all. And with that, let's go with the world premiere of Kung Fu Grip.
When I saw you in that crowded room, I knew right then that our love could bloom. It's too bad that you've chose to deceive me. Your lips are moving, I just can't believe that you treat me this way. Can't believe that I still want to stay. Can't believe that I'll call you tomorrow, even though your words bring me nothing but sorrow. You've got that you treat me this way. Can't believe that I still want to stay. Can't believe that I'll call you tomorrow, even though your words bring me nothing but sorrow. You've gotta, I can't help it when you're here by my side. My time with you has been a roller coaster. Gonna pray you're not there. You've got a kung fu grip on me. Kung fu grip. Kung fu grip. You've got a kung fu grip on me. Kung fu grip.
You know, I've been accused from time to time of using the word amazing a little too carelessly. And yes, I may be guilty of occasional misuse. You see, as I'm working on these videos, I just sometimes get so enamored with whoever the topic, whoever was the casting director for that show, really hit it out of the park. And yes, just thinking about Andy Kaufman makes me both happy and sad at the same time. After Taxi, Mary Lou kept herself very busy. She's always been known within the industry as a great talk show guest, and whenever she was on with Leno, well, it was extra fun because the two of them have real chemistry and just seem to enjoy bantering back and forth. I think it might have been during one of those visits when I discovered that Mary Lou really was amazing and that no one would ever argue the point with me. Of course, at the time I had no idea that future me would be making odd little nostalgic videos on YouTube, but that's beside the point. Once I let you in on Mary Lou's secret, you'll see what I'm talking about and completely understand. But before I go any further, I have to at least mention that Mary Lou was in one of my favorite Steve Martin movies, LA Story. I should also mention Evening Shade, the CBS sitcom that she starred in with Burt Reynolds in the early 90s. All good stuff. Like I said, the lady's resume is extensive, but that's not what this video is about. It's about Mary Lou's amazing gift, a gift that she had mentioned casually, almost jokingly while on the talk show circuit, but that I learned a heck of a lot more about on the CBS weekly news program 60 Minutes when Mary Lou was featured in a piece titled Memory Wizards. You see, Mary Lou is just one of a handful of people in the entire world who have something called highly superior autobiographical memory. What that means is that they can remember things in their past with an amazing amount of detail. In a nutshell, well, not impossible, it's very hard for Mary Lou to forget things. And because of their ability to remember with such incredible detail, those few people in this world who have this gift, or curse depending on how you look at it, tend to spend a lot of time thinking about the past. Like I said, it can be a blessing or a curse depending on how one uses this amazing gift. Imagine if you could sit down in front of a computer screen and revisit a moment from 15 years earlier and watch everything transpire with such clarity in front of your eyes once again. That's how individuals with highly superior autobiographical memory remember things. And as such, it's tempting for these folks to spend hour upon hour mired in the memories of their past. Mary Lou to date has not let her amazing gift get the best of her. For Mary Lou, it really has been a blessing and a source of constant amazement for those who know and love her. Getting back to the world of entertainment, TV in particular, as long as we're talking about Mary Lou, I should probably point out a couple of recent appearances on the CBS sitcoms The Neighborhood and Bob Hart's Abishola. And if you're interested in keeping your own memory skills sharp, Mary Lou's book, Total Memory Makeover, probably wouldn't be a bad place to start. Without a doubt, she knows a thing or two about the topic. Alright, now it's your turn. Please share your memories in the comments section, and while you're at it, I'd love a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and I would be absolutely honored if you would consider subscribing to my channel. I talk about music, movies, and television, mostly from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, and as always, thank you so much for watching.
Years later.